My name is Emma Carter. I grew up in the heart of Crest Hill, a city that never really slept. It was loud, crowded, and full of dreams that seemed too expensive to chase. But it was home. I lived in a small apartment with my mom and dad, Laura and James. We didn't have much, but we had love, and honestly, for a long time, that felt like enough. One evening, I remember it was raining. My dad and I were walking home from the store. I was telling him something silly about school, and then tires screeched, lights flashed, and before I knew it, he pushed me out of the way, saved my life. The doctor said he'd never walk again. His spine was badly injured, and that night everything changed. He came home in a wheelchair. He was quieter, slower, but still my dad. I helped where I could, cooking, cleaning, lifting him into bed. I didn't mind. He had saved me. My mom worked more hours than ever. She was always tired, but she never complained. She held our little family together with quiet strength. I got a part-time job at a cafe nearby. After school, I'd tie on my apron and serve coffee until closing. It wasn't easy, but I had a dream. I wanted to go to Ridgeway University. Most nights, after work, I'd sit at the kitchen table with my books. While my dad watched from his chair, he couldn't say much after the accident, but his eyes told me he believed in me. Ridgeway was everything I wanted. A place where writers became authors, where stories came to life. I knew it was a long shot, but I applied for their scholarship anyway. When I walked into the interview room, I felt like I didn't belong. Everyone else wore expensive clothes and spoke like they already had the future in their hands, but I held my head high and told them my truth. I talked about my dad's accident, about working late nights, about studying with tired eyes, and stubborn hope. And I finished with something I'd written in my journal. The world may not hand you a path, but you can build your own. The days that followed were the longest. I tried not to hope too much. I kept working, I kept studying, but deep down, I was praying. And then it came the letter. White envelope, gold lettering. My hands were shaking as I opened it. I had done it. I got the scholarship, full ride. I couldn't stop crying. My mom hugged me so tight, I could barely breathe. And then, my dad, who hadn't spoken a full sentence in months, looked at me with teary eyes and said, "You did it." It was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. I packed my things slowly, almost afraid it wasn't real, but it was. I was going to Ridgeway. Before I left, we took a photo, the three of us, a family that had been through fire, but never stopped holding on. When I walked through the gates of Ridgeway, I felt like I was finally breathing. For the first time, I had made it on my own terms. The lecture hall was huge. Everyone around me looked confident, but I wasn't scared anymore. I had earned my place here. Now, I sit by my dorm window, writing this story, my story, because some lights don't shine despite the storm. They shine because of it.